Joe presents Liquid Football.
Hello, welcome to Liquid Football on Joe. It's the show that takes you inside the dressing room and puts you in the boots of the players. I'm Kelly Cates, minus my voice this week, but alongside me, Stephen Warnock and Wayne Bridge. We're going to start with the FA Cup, of course. Liverpool have got an FA Cup replay. 2-2 draw at Shrewsbury. They were 2-0 up. Jurgen Klopp has said he's not going to play his senior side in the replay because it falls in the mid-season break. Just before we come on to that, just quickly a word on Shrewsbury to be 2-0 down against Premier League opposition. And yes, it was a young Liverpool side, but it's the side that put out Everton, more or less. And Shrewsbury back into that game and made Liverpool look quite ordinary in the game.
Well, it's probably a better team than they put out against Everton when you think of Matip, Lovren, Firmino.
Well, they brought Salah and Firmino at the end, didn't they?
Yeah, but then you've got Fabinho in midfield as well, and you're thinking like this was a strong team. To go 2-0 down straight after, as soon as the second half kicks off as well, you're thinking no way back for Shrewsbury now. And credit to them, they were well organised, good team. I watched them in the round before against Bristol City a couple of times, and they dominated both games against them. So it was always going to be a tough game for Liverpool, but like you say, once they went 2-0 up, you thought, job done.
But when you see all the video from the dressing room and the way they're all celebrating, that's the point of it, isn't it? The fact that you get these moments. And I know for the club and for the administrators and everything, and then it will trickle down, the money will trickle down to the fans getting the replay at Anfield and getting the gate receipts or sharing the gate receipts from that. But that's not the point, is it? In the moment, when you go in and you've been 2-0 down and got a draw against them, it's huge.
Yeah, it being 2-0 down, just getting a draw, anything really, I think that is what the FA Cup's all about, seeing them things. But I think Liverpool go in there. You know, I've been at Chelsea at times where you go to lower league and you do feel a bit of pressure, especially if you're not. They don't put a full strength team out, and it's people's mentality isn't always in the game, so it's difficult, and that's when the lower teams they can come good and create upsets.
But this idea that he said, look, we've got this break. I've had a letter from we had a letter from the Premier League last season, in April last season, where they said, don't arrange any matches during this time. Don't have any paid friendlies. Make sure this is a proper break. If you want it, use it as a break. And then the FA have come in and said, this is when we're going to have the FA Cup replays. Now, it would be a perfectly reasonable argument to say if Liverpool didn't want a replay, then they should have beaten Shrewsbury. If they don't want a replay, they could have put in a better performance than the one that they did. However, this is the situation. And he said no senior players will be part of the squad, and he's not even going to be manager of the team that does it.
It's a difficult one because you can see both sides of it. You look at Liverpool playing Southampton on the 1st, then they've got this game on the 4th. So if you'd have finished the game on the 1st against Southampton, then you give yourself a 7-day break. So players will go on holiday, they'll go on a warm weather camp, whatever they want to do. So they do get well rested within that period. Now that you've got that game sandwiched in there, the players will have to train on the Monday, the Sunday and the Monday leading into the game. Then when they finish that game, they'll have probably 3 days off, 4 days off max. And it's not enough for what the players need because they'll still need a week of training leading up to the next game. Jurgen Klopp, in the international breaks, if players aren't on international duty, more often than not gives them 6 or 7 days off to let them recover. So that was what it was brought in for. I think the difficult thing is him not being there. You can understand him putting a second team out, but when you're at Anfield and you're manager of Liverpool in the FA Cup, I think if I was the opposition manager, I'd be a little bit frustrated at that.
Yeah, Andy Holt, who's the chairman of Accrington Stanley, said the FA need to win this battle, or else their flagship competition is going to be totally undermined. I mean, it's a really difficult balance to strike, though, when the clubs are getting one set of instructions from the Premier League, which is you will not play matches in this period, and they're getting one set of instructions from the FA, which is you will play matches and you will play a strong side in this period. It feels like less that it's a decision for clubs to make and more that it's a battle between the FA and the Premier League.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with Klopp, to be honest. He's been told strictly no games, and he's just followed that. And you guarantee he's probably, if they haven't organised the trip away, they're going away together, he's probably told players that they can go away. They've probably booked to go away already, and he's just following instructions. None of it's on his head. And to be honest, a lot of them players probably would have had time off anyway because he would have filled a weakened side. And I, say he should be there. Maybe he should be there.
Because
I'm a bit like he is just following instructions.
He needs a break as well, though, doesn't he? I think people are saying, physically Liverpool will be tired and you need that physical break. But it's the mental side of the game as well. Imagine what goes on in his head every single day, being in and around the training ground, organising things, making sure everything's right. He needs that break as much as anyone.
I don't get how they brought the break in, though, knowing that replays could happen. Like, how has that not been thought of before?
Yeah.
It was mentioned at the time, but I'm not sure that I think it was sort of glossed over. Yeah. There was obviously the possibility that there could be FA Cup replays, and then that was it, sort of dealt with there. But it is something that makes a lot of fans very frustrated. This idea of players needing a break, of managers needing a break, when you've got people working really hard jobs who'll get maybe a total of 4 weeks off a year, and they're like, well, do you know what, we all need a break, we just sometimes have to push on through it.
Yeah, that is very understandable, but the physical levels that they're pushing themselves to is, you can see it now. Players are breaking down all the time, so they're picking up injuries, and this was brought in to help England in the Euros. It was brought in to help foreign European teams within the World Cup as well. These are things that have been highlighted, that players, managers have all come together and said, if we had a winter break, this would help improve the squads. So it's been brought in for that reason. There's only one winner in this, and it's the Premier League. The Premier League are, they're the money makers, aren't they? They're the ones that bring such a wealth of money into clubs, and the teams will only adhere to what they say. The FA they're struggling with the FA Cup as it is to keep it relevant and to keep it interesting, but no one's ever come up with a solution that everyone's gone, yes, that's what we need to do and that's how we need to change it.
Yeah, the FA Cup's struggling. It's one of them. It's great for the fringe players or the players that aren't getting games. For instance, when I was at Chelsea and I was behind Ashley, I was going to get a game in the FA Cup. So it's already undermined, like I said, a little bit already, and this has just made it even worse. There's all the talk going on between fans and clubs that they should field stronger sides, and this has just made it even worse.
But let's not get it wrong. It's not Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool's fault. It's the FA and the Premier League, isn't it, where they've clashed together.
The only thing is him not being at the game.
Yeah, but again, that comes down to the clash and being told not to do anything.
But is that the players and the manager as well?
Well, you come as one, don't you? Should do anyway, shouldn't you? But difficult.
And also, you could turn up as a figurehead, but then in the middle of it all, the players potentially could be going off on warm. We don't really know what's happening in Liverpool's mid-season break at this point. They're going off on a warm weather training camp. What are the sort of repeatable things that happen in warm weather training camp?
Training,
right? So you go. So if you have a manager who says to you, right, we've got a couple of weeks in the middle of the season, we're going to have say you had this opportunity for a warm weather break, you're like, that'd be lovely. We're going to go get a little bit of time away. Off we go, spend a few days in the sunshine, really intensive training sessions. So what is it? What's the point of them? What should
do you want to take this away?
I've had lots of different scenarios.
What are they supposed to achieve? What do you think is the aim of a warm weather training camp from a manager's point of view?
It all depends on the manager.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be managers out there, and I've experienced it both ends, where you go out and it is training, and supposedly it's not going to be as hard, but you get a bit of sun, recover and stuff, and you're recovering properly. But there's also the other side where it's just a bit of a jolly up. You do a little bit of a training.
Team bonding, come on.
Yeah, team bonding, they call it.
Right, it's not a jolly
team
up.
bonding. So you do train, and you have the odd night out here and there. Or there's the extreme where you go and it is pretty much training is really, really light, and you have 3 or 4 nights out as team bonding. And I think it's difficult for the manager. We were talking about Hughesy, Mark Hughes, and I've played with him before. But when he went to City and I went, he changed a lot. Obviously City, big club, a lot of money come in. We weren't allowed to go out. We literally had to stay in. Whereas I'm sure you've experienced something totally different.
Have I? No, I went away with Blackburn. It was my first trip. I'd signed in January. It must have been February, March time. And we went out to Dubai. And the training, the one thing I will say was the training was hard, like really hard. If you went out the night before, you still turned up on that training pitch and you had to be there at a certain time. You had to sort of sweat everything out of you. But it was a team building thing. It was like the lads getting to know each other. I was fresh into the squad. For me, the easiest thing to do is go out, have a drink, get to know the lads. A little bit more relaxed atmosphere. If you were going to be sick, you were sick, and you get on with it, and that's part and parcel of it. But it wasn't. There's a fine line between like a lad's like booze up and getting absolutely smashed the whole time, and there's a training camp as well with that mixed in. But I've been on trips before where there's nights out constantly, but you've still got over a week when you get back to still recover from it, to be right.
Recover from the drinking rather than the training.
That has changed over time as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
in your career, where you can't do it as much.
Oh yeah, of course, definitely. But it's also the individual, what the individual wants. Sometimes you go away and you think, well, I don't get this opportunity sometimes, and you may as well go out, get to know the lads better, spend more time with them. What you often find with players is they'll live with each other within a training ground, and then they go off and they don't really socialise outside of it. So for the lads, it's a great opportunity to get together and have a good laugh and a good time.
So after,
it does work.
That's what I was going to ask, because after that one with Blackburn.
Yeah, well, I joined.
Did it work?
Yeah, because I joined and we were in the bottom three when I first joined, and we had a little bit of a pick-up just before we went, and then after we came back, I think we were unbeaten in about 10 games. Because, again, getting to know players, they get to know the different side of characters. I'm not saying like everyone comes out the shell when they've had a drink, but it doesn't half help.
I really love that you're sitting here with a straight face, seriously talking about the benefits to the team of going away on a warm weather break. But you're not going over there going, do you know, I'm just going to put, and I'm sure this is the party line when you're at home as well. You're going, look, we're going to have to go and do this because, you know, the club's not in a good place at the moment, and we've got to go away. We've all got to spend time together, and I'm sure it goes down like a cup of cold sick when you're sitting there going, yeah, we've got to go away and do all this.
I don't think it happens as much now, though.
No, I don't.
I think when I first started out, I think it happened a lot. The last trip I went on was with Fulham, and I thought the team bonding whenever we went out was really good. You know, the team played well afterwards, and it happened at Southampton. I thought it done well. It happened at West Ham, where we just had a few days together to team bonding. We were really struggling. It didn't work, so we got relegated. But the Fulham one, I thought was great.
You tried to bond and then realised you didn't like each other.
It just didn't work. We never had, like you say, you do find out, and it does create a tight unit. At Southampton, it definitely did, and at Fulham, 100% it did. Especially with Chris Coleman was manager, and we went out. Everyone had to go out. It wasn't like you can have a night out. We're having a night out. Everyone has to come, and he would make sure everyone went out. There was one time he was sat round the pool, and I think it was after the night out, and he went, well, I'm not going. You were with the fitness coach? Because he was sat by the actual pool having a beer. And we were like, well, do we have to go train? He went, yeah, well, send us over a crate of beer. Half hour into training, a crate of beer turns up. The fitness coach is devastated. He went, I just have a five-a-side. Everyone's having a beer playing five-a-side. But we come back off that trip, and we got some good results. And it does help sometimes, you know. You come off, you bond better. Certain characters, like you said, you get on with better.
I think as well
about them.
Sometimes you'll find the players' perception of a manager can change as well, and how they feel about the manager. We went to we were in Italy with Blackburn, and we were flying to Croatia for a game. So we were flying into Croatia, staying and playing one game, and then flying back into England that night. So we got to the airport in Italy, and the crates that we were having to take on the plane were too heavy. So Sam Allardyce was manager at the time, and they were trying to organise it. No, just the kit, like with all the kit in it and stuff.
Oh, I thought you were...
Sorry, yeah.
I'm still on crates of beer.
Yeah. So the plane wouldn't take off. They said, you can't go on the plane that you want to go on. It's too heavy for what you've got. So we ended up staying about 3 or 4 hours in this airport until we could get a private plane to come in, or a bigger plane that would take us. So Sam Allardyce pulls myself and Ryan Nelson. So he was captain, I was vice captain. He said, find out who's in Croatia and where we can go out tonight. He went, I'm not having this. This is wrong. He said, lads need a night out tonight. He said, we've done like 10 days in Italy. We've not had a drink. He said, we'll have a night out tonight. So lads, go off, find out who you can in Croatia, sort out this bar and club type thing. So we finish the game, get back on the bus, and Sam Allardyce comes on the microphone at the front of the bus. Right, lads, be in the bar 10 minutes. If you're not there, week's wages. So lads were like, right, okay. And if anyone doesn't come, you're in massive trouble with me. So we turn up to the hotel, and he says, right, upstairs and back down as quick as you can. Come back down. There's a bar. I mean, it's probably 4 times the length of this, full of beers. And he was like, beer down here, taxis are outside, all paid for, see you at the club. Walk in this club, and it was like around the swimming pool, but it was like all open air. It was dead relaxed. He stood in the middle. He was like, right, help yourselves, have a good night. So we're all like having drinks and whatever. And he says, right, I'm going home now. There's my credit card. If you want any more drinks, I'm off. The lads were just like, this guy's unreal. Like, there's suddenly new players who come to the club wanted to run through a brick wall for him. And they were just like, this guy's phenomenal. Everyone went back to the hotel next morning, woke up, thanked the manager for the night out. And suddenly he's won everyone over. Everyone wants to play for him. And they're the little things that people don't see that managers bring to the table sometimes. It was the same with Mark Hughes. When I went in, I didn't know what to expect of him. Went on the trip to went to Dubai and Florida, and your perception changes of someone because you only see what you see before you sign is what they're like in front of a camera and what they're like at a press conference, and you've got to get to know them as well as they've got to get to know you.
I'm just sorry you didn't get to see his dancing, like in that video of him in Ibiza. Have you seen the one that's doing the rounds?
Yeah.
It can go wrong though as well.
Well, that's what I was. Has there ever been a time when it's just, or when like tensions have been bubbling away, and then you get away and everybody's out, there's a few beers down, and
I remember the Fulham one again. A couple of things went wrong, although we did bond really well and get some results afterwards. Remember the coach Dave Besant broke his finger when we were play fighting after a few beers. Wasn't me, it was someone else. The funniest one was Crosley, the goalkeeper. Oh, God. We come back from a night out, and it was early hours of the morning. It was a big night out, and he went, "Oh, I'm just going to chill down by the pool." I'm like, I'm going to bed. I woke up 8 hours later, looked out of the balcony. He's still there, fallen asleep with his iPod on his chest.
Oh, no.
And he had blistered all over his body. So that was him done for the rest, couldn't move. He literally laying in bed like that, creamed up with blisters all over him. So he was done for a while.
A little white rectangle where the iPad.
They were really bad. Like, you could just go around with a needle, you could just pop them. They were so bad.
You did that like you'd had a go at it.
No, I would have loved to. He was in so much pain. You felt sorry for him, but that went wrong.
Yeah.
Now, I think the manager would rather just give the lads the time off to go and do what they want to do, because they know they're going to be with their families. I think a lot of the managers these days think if we go away as a group,
this could be trouble.
Yeah, and if you have a night out now with social media, they just can't do it anymore.
I suppose if you're with your family, you're going to have a quite a time.
Yeah. I was going to say,
not always, but mostly.
Do you imagine like a Liverpool, a Man City, a Chelsea going out as a team, how hard it is, and what follows them about, and the amount of social media posts that are going to come off the back of it. Players can't move. Very difficult for them to do.
And times do change. Like, I feel like back then everyone was going out.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, you know, the body facts for everyone, how athletic people are, is totally different to back then.
Yeah, and I think now it's got the really low body fat. They go out and have like 2 beers, and suddenly they were like, "That's them."
That was me anyway.
Probably because you have very low body fat. Man United won 6-0 at Tranmere. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thanked the Tranmere keeper. Apparently afterwards, he's a City fan, and he said that he fired up the Man United players because he said, Man United are on their way down, and he'd sort of used it as, the implication was that he'd sort of used it as motivation, or it had been used as motivation in the dressing room. Does that happen? Like if
I don't think that'll have happened on that one. They only have to pick up the papers most days and to read that Man United are on the way down at the moment, and everyone's having a go at them for style of play and how they're not doing well and how much pressure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's under. So you can understand what he's saying to a certain degree, but I don't think you necessarily have to pin that up in the changing room against Tranmere in League One, who've just played 120 minutes on the Thursday night. You should be winning the game anyway, shouldn't you?
I don't feel like I've ever used it myself or anyone said anything that would offend me that I really want to go and beat. I always wanted to win. But I remember Mourinho, when he first come along with the Man United, he always used to have something to say about him. Or if Fergie had said something, one of the players had said something, he always used to use that. He always used to say something about them.
And did it not really work for you?
I think we'd be G'd up before the game, but once I was on the pitch, I never really thought about what was said. I'd always go out and just play. But he would G you up before the game.
Do you think there's much in the Jordan Henderson one with Sir Alex Ferguson?
About the gait, about him having an upright gait?
I think that'd annoy him. I think he'd want to do well off the back of that and prove someone wrong. Where he said he's got a funny running gait and why, that's why I wouldn't sign him and he's not going to have a career and things like that. And you're thinking, I'll prove you wrong. Yeah, that'd irritate me because you only have to read like Stevie G's book as well when he talks about Rafa, and he said I always wanted to prove him wrong because he'd always say something. I'd think, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I think certain players and certain people will get affected in different ways. Yeah.
So if you see those sort of comments beforehand, did anyone ever try to wind you up before a game, or were there ever any situations that made you want to go out and prove yourself?
I remember when I'd signed from Blackburn to Aston Villa, we were playing, went back to Blackburn not so long after, and I spoke to a few of the lads after the game, and I used to have a little bit of a thing with our lad Juve where he used to do me head in, if I'm being honest. Got to know him a little bit better when we played together at Leeds after it, but he used to just annoy me, and Sam had said to him, try and wind him up and get him sent off, and I tried to smash him a few times. I'm not going to lie, but that was one of the tactics where he said try and get him wound up and try and get him sent off.
So did you go in physically, or is it verbals, or both?
Both. Yeah, just he'd be on at me and I'd be on at him, and then it'd get a bit heated on the pitch. And
he was annoying to play against.
Yeah.
Was it easy to wind up though? Because sometimes if someone's annoying to play,
do you know what?
You can use it against them.
He's very good the other way.
Yeah.
You can try and wind him up as much as you want, and he knows he's got you. As soon as you're biting back, he's laughing in your face. Yeah. He's quite good at it. In all fair, yeah, he's quite good. He would not bother him if you're going back at him saying stuff. He'd just laugh in your face, and you get even more wound up, and you're thinking, "Oh, next tackle."
This one's going to get him. This one's going to get. Yeah. Did you end up getting sent off against him the other way around? No. I thought that's where that might be going.
I think I gave a free kick away that led to a goal though, and it was so annoying.
Oh, you're just trying to get into him. And the pitch though at Tranmere there was a lot said about. You were there.
I was there for Thursday. I was there on Thursday, watching the Watford game, and there was sort of areas on the pitch down the side which were full of sand. So whenever there was a free kick in that area, they'd move it right onto the touchline because they didn't want to take the free kick out the sand because it was that bad.
Oh my God!
But the pitch was cutting up really bad, and it was really heavy every time the players were turning. But Watford struggled on it, and in all fairness, when you look at the Watford team back, it weren't Watford's first team. It was Man United put their first team out as strong as they could, and they were able to deal with the ball better. The touch is better than the Watford players, and they dealt with the occasion far better. But the pitch was, it was horrendous. I was there in pre-season when Liverpool played Tranmere in a pre-season game. I think it rained that day, and the game could have got called off in July because it held water on the pitch and it was a mess. So again, hopefully they can get some money that can sort their pitch out.
Yeah, it's unusual now, isn't it? I mean, you used to see that all the time. That used to be like the great leveler in FA Cup times with the pitch. You'd have a pitch with a slope, or you'd have the kind of pitch that would cut up a lot and get me muddy. But it's rare to have that now because most of them that have got like the ground staff take real pride in keeping it, if they've got the resources to do it, in having a really pristine pitch.
The pitches, they're unbelievable. I remember Chelsea's one that stands out for me when I went there and Roman come along and just sorted it out, because I remember Chelsea every Christmas the pitch was just shocking. It was just mud all down the middle of the pitch. The sides were okay, but they were still bobbly, and like they were talking about a game when they just put sand all over it. It was literally just sand. I think it was the following season they actually sorted out, and that was when Roman came in and was like, right, we need to sort this pitch out, and he got it sorted. But I remember, like, we talk about cup games, I remember going to lower leagues and thinking, I'm dreading it. It's like the ball's coming towards you and is it going to go over my foot or under my foot? You have to concentrate so much.
Yeah.
It does level the game out. But like you say, now you don't see it as much. People take care of the pitch because they want to see see everyone playing football rather than just pump it long all the time.
I was going to say,
Well,
style of
Solskjaer
football's
said
changed,
that.
hasn't it?
But Solskjaer said that, didn't he? He said, we went to play on that pitch. He said, I think everybody expected us to be hoofing it long and doing it. We didn't. We maintained our style of play and we played our own game. We kept it on the floor, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're able to move it around quite well, but again, Tranmere were shattered. They played 120 minutes in midweek. They've got a couple of midfielders and David Perkins and Neil Dans who are sort of 38. 37, 38. They're going to tire after 120 minutes on Thursday.
The thing is that I do have a bit of sympathy with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in this situation, because when he comes out and he says, we did really well against this team and they haven't got a good result, and they're like, yeah, but they play well and we did. What was the one, the Liverpool one, where he said, they played a full strength team against us, and that's the kind of respect we get. And everybody's like, oh my God, he got hammered for sort of talking them down. And then he goes to Tranmere, they beat them 6-0, and he talks them up and he gets hammered for that as well. You can't really win in that situation.
Manchester United.
One day you're underplaying them, and one day you're overselling
He's under
them.
so much pressure, isn't he?
But you get beat at home. You get beat at home by Burnley, and you're going to get criticised because you shouldn't be getting beat by Burnley at home. If you're Manchester United, with all due respect to Burnley, you should be winning that game and you should be dominant. You should be going to Tranmere and you should be winning the game. Whether you win 2 or 6-0, you should be going to Tranmere.
You'd like to think he'd come out and just say, yeah, we won 6-0. We should be winning 6-0, not like praising himself. He should be coming out and just saying we should be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
It's the norm.
Okay. Tough judges.
It is though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Man United, the players they've got, it should be normal to just go and win like that. I know no football game's easy, but
yeah. There's always the potential to slip up. This is Liquid Football on Joe. I'm Kelly Cates, alongside me Stephen Warnock and Wayne Bridge. If you like what you see and hear, then leave a review on YouTube and iTunes. This week sees the return of TKO with Carl Frampton. Chris Lloyd and Carl have been up to Hull to visit British lightweight Tommy Coyle.
It's funny because he takes the piss out of me about it, but I made it a Kell Brook do. A Kell Brook fight. Did he fight Spence that night?
I'll tell him the story.
Go on, what's the story?
So he sees me, Kell Brook fought Earl Spence, and Tommy comes over to me, and he must have says to Holly, "There's card from, go and get a photograph of him." So he comes over to me and goes, "Carl, how you doing? I'm Tommy Coyle.
I don't know if
No, I've got it wrong." So he says, "Carl, how you doing? Can I get a photograph of you, please?" And I went, "Oh, no problem, Tommy. Go ahead, jump in." And he went, "He knows my name." But I went, of course I know your name. What are you talking about?
TKO with Carl Frampton is available from Tuesday the 28th of January. Also from Joe, House of Rugby with James Haskell. The latest episode seems James, Alex Payne and Mike Tyndall discuss the situation at Saracens following their relegation. Time now for the Liquid Football Challenge, and I don't know if you saw the story that was around about the Everton players who had pictures drawn of them by Lineker School, and they used them as their graphics, their match day graphics, to sort of raise awareness of the importance of mental health in kids. And look, it's just so lovely that they use these kids' pictures to represent all the different players. Your challenge this week is to draw footballers past and present, and I have to guess who they are.
Yeah.
So you've had 5 minutes per player, and this is what you've come up with.
I'll just say now that they're very good compared to mine.
I have a lot of practice at home as well.
Let's
To be
see.
And
fair.
this is my first one.
That's nice, lovely, and
Taking the detail, please, if you can,
in
Kelly.
felt tip. It's a red shirt.
Yep,
Is that a live bird?
it is.
Captain's armband.
Correct.
And actually, I think it looks a bit like him. Is that Steven Gerrard? Is that what colour his eyes are as well?
I haven't got a clue. Now go on then.
But Wayne's
There we go.
desperate to show us. Oh my God, it looks like Beavis and Butthead.
That's what I thought.
I know who that is as well. Is he breathing fire? Is that
That's his tongue.
I didn't realise, 1, he only had teeth at the top, or 2, he had two-tone hair.
I was getting
Quite like
rushed.
that.
We only had 5
The
minutes.
with the dark stripes down the side. But is it Harry Kane?
Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
It was Christian Eriksen. You ready?
Yeah, go
Okay,
on,
so
go
the
on.
next one is...
You got to get this straight away.
Number 7,
Yeah.
with a player with blonde hair and an earring. Was it David Beckham?
Easy, this. Easy.
You've got to put the
I
clues
think we
in
should have had the shirts on there. That would have
thing
been
is,
great.
It was
that a
the Mohawk days.
Oh, you should have done straight.
I know.
Not
It's just
Mohawk.
a weird thing.
Mohawks
What?
go
And just have like a little
backwards.
tuff.
Mohawks do that. Wait. Right, come on then. Wait.
That's how you do a mohawk.
And it's the final one. Oh my God. Does he have a very wrinkly forehead?
He's frowning.
He's frowning because he's asking, why always me?
Yes.
Because it's Mario Balotelli.
There you go.
Right, come on then.
Next
Stephen.
up.
Oh my God. Right.
I don't know this one.
Oh, is it like a West Ham shirt or something like that? Crystal Palace? Is it that kind of... Are we going for claret rather than purple? Villa? It's not Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
That shirt is
He ain't even got blonde hair.
He's got bright blonde hair at the moment, whipped
Is
back.
he? Are we ready?
Who's that?
What's wrong with his head?
I actually saw who you
With
were
the bit
drawing,
where his
and I
head
don't know
goes
who
in
that is.
at the temples.
I've forgotten.
Right.
I think this.
Purely-
I know
I
who it
reckon the
is now.
bottom bit might give it away. Not this bottom bit here. This. Well, I don't know. Actually,
who
it's
it is
not a
now.
great chin, is it?
Is it Man City blue?
It could be.
Bear in mind, I'm trying to guess your picture. It's like,
No, but it could be another team as well.
oh, then it might not
Might
be.
have played for Man City as well.
Oh, would he have played for Man City and Chelsea?
Oh.
And would he have played for another team as well that was not in this country?
Yes.
And would...
So you didn't even.
Oh,
You
is
got
it-
that just from his head.
Is it Frank Lampard?
Yes.
Wow.
He's quite clean shaven now, though. You put lots of stubble on
Got
him.
out of jail
He
there.
used to. I don't know.
Is it a magician? So is it
Well,
David Silva?
David Silva got bright blonde hair.
No, but
I'm
then
not-
neither of half the
What's
people
that?
you don't.
What's that?
It's a wand. So he's a magician.
No.
What?
Just might have a wand of a
Foot.
foot. See, this game's lost on you a little
Yeah.
bit, isn't it?
It's nothing to do with your drawing.
If you give me, you can't just give me a random person with a sort of orangey coloured face. And
Orange.
what colour is that face?
Well, similar
A
colours
face
to the hair,
that-
isn't it?
It's got a blonde face.
Yellowish. Very pale face.
Oh, is it De Bruyne?
There we go.
To be fair.
All right, okay, let's see what you've got.
Oh my! Genuinely, Beavers and Buttheads. West Ham.
Frankenstein.
West Ham.
Sorry.
Is his hair that dark in real life? No.
Probably not. I went for I can't really say what I went for.
Short.
I called it the kind of clean Lego head. I can't describe
Is it-
why he's got
should
that
he have-
kind of face going
Should
on.
he have a captain's armband on?
No.
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 I'm only asking. I don't know who it is. I'm still
I
guessing.
wonder why.
I'm still guessing. There is literally not a clue on there other than it's a West Ham player.
There, that should help you out.
That narrows it down.
You should get that now.
No, is it?
Go
I
on,
thought
say
might-
it. Just say it.
thought
I know
might
it's
have
going
been
to come
Mark
out.
Noble or like Declan Rice.
Yes.
Is it Declan Rice?
Yes.
Yeah, but you went Mark Noble first.
That's his scared face. Remember, he's been a couple of people have videos of him going around.
Yeah,
naked
is
and
that what that is? Oh,
jumping
yes,
and
when
stuff,
he's
so that's-
screaming.
see?
Oh, okay, that's his
Get it
social
now,
media
don't
presence.
ya?
Yeah.
This is the last one. This is my favourite one. I think it's probably my best one.
Is it Maradona?
Oh my God, how quick do you want to jump in?
Because that's the Argentina shirt, isn't it? And he's got like curly hair and like a little beard and very red cheeks, like a Christmas elf. Is it not?
If I'd drawn Maradona, I'd have drawn him a lot fatter.
Oh, I think that's quite a fat head.
It is quite difficult if I'm being honest.
Is he Irish?
No.
I honestly have no idea who that is.
It looks nothing like him.
That's you.
You should have done it like Narrow.
Look how red he is
That
now.
is so annoying.
Beard.
Well, then that's Steve Sidwell, the next one, isn't it?
She got a sneak peek.
I can't believe that. I can't believe you didn't get Bridgie there. It's immaculate. Well played, Bridgie.
That's really annoying.
Masterpieces there.
Torino beaten 7-0 at home by Atalanta in Serie A this weekend. Some of the players were in tears on the pitch. Has a defeat ever made you cry?
For me, I got beaten the Club World Cup final against, God, when was that now? 2006. And I cried after the game because I thought it was the opportunity to Liverpool were going after that for the first time, not to win it for the first time. They played in it many times before, and I just thought it was a chance to go in the history books. And I was devastated after it. It was one of them defeats that just sort of sits with you. So not a nice feeling.
It's funny, Luis Garcia was in here talking about it, and we were sort of talking about the importance of it, and he said it's the one that he regrets because it felt like one. And I know there's a lot of Man United players who, when they won it, said really care, wouldn't even count it amongst our medals. Yeah. But it's almost worse if you miss out of it and you don't have.
Oh, it was horrible, and it was the way we lost it as well. We had 3 goals disallowed in the game. Their goal was possibly offside. If VAR was in now, we would have won the game comfortably. So that was disappointing. And like I say, it was just the opportunity. I mean, there's not many players in club football can say they played in a game of that magnitude, and for me, it was just one of them opportunities that I knew wasn't going to come round again.
What about you?
The one game I cried after was the FA Cup final for Southampton. I was playing for Southampton against Arsenal. Probably think, why are you crying? You were probably expected to lose, but we were playing really well that season, and obviously had a good cup run. And being a lifelong Southampton fan, I had a lot of friends that come along. I'm not going to use that as an excuse why I cried. I was just absolutely gutted, to be honest. You go that far and you put everything into the game, and I think the way we lost as well, we never really got into the game, never created any chances, just absolutely gutted. Didn't think I was going to cry, just the whistle went and it just happened.
Yeah.
Just absolutely gutted. It ended up being my last game for Saints. I probably would have cried knowing it was my last game for Saints if I'd known that, but yeah, I cried because of the loss.
Yeah, again, it's that thing about the magnitude of the occasion and having one of those really special moments that doesn't play out in the way that probably in the build-up to it, you've been expecting it to, hoping that it would be.
You know, you go to a cup final, you have so many people that come along, and then, not that you're thinking about the after party, but straight as well, you know, when you go in afterwards and you see everyone, it's like, do you want a drink? And it's like, oh... Yeah, great, I'll have a drink. We just lost the cup final. It kills the whole occasion, to be honest. The build-up is great and everything, but it just kills the rest of your day.
Yeah. You said that was your last game for Southampton. You didn't know it was at the time.
No.
And you didn't really have a retirement match, did you? You kind of... It was injuries and...
all due to injuries, yeah. I think I'll probably admit it. I did cry when I left Southampton because I'd been there as a kid and it was like home for me. I did cry when I left to go to Chelsea. I'm an emotional guy. I've cried a lot, you know. But I never.
Nothing wrong with that.
Retirement-wise, it just happened. It was sprung up on me for injury.
Yeah.
But also that moment of knowing, because you did have a last game, didn't you, where you knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably the same as Bridgie. I'm quite emotional when it comes to it because we grow up loving the sport and what we're going into and things like that. So when I sort of said I was going to retire, and I think it was around about March, April time. And you know it's your last game. And I was thinking, the previous game, before the last game of the season, I was thinking, please just get through this week and make sure that I can play in that last game. So I hardly trained to make sure that I'd play in the last game. And then the board went up to take me off the pitch with about 10 minutes to go. And I was devastated. I was just thinking, I walked off the pitch crying. And then in the changing room after it, the manager was Simon Grayson at Bradford at the time, and he just sort of made a speech about me and wished me luck and everything. And you see all the players looking at you, and I just end up putting a towel over my head and just sinking into me thing. I'm thinking, that's not, it was. The thing was, it was on my terms. I wanted to retire. I was ready to retire. I felt I was anyway. So it hadn't been taken away from me, but that was my terms as well. But I've had other times where I did the laying of the wreath at Anfield. I was at Blackburn at the time, and it was the Hillsborough Memorial, and I was laying the wreath in front of the cop for the 96. And I remember making a walk from the centre circle to the cop, and the cop all stood up, and I was just like, oh my God. Growing up a Liverpool fan and understanding what it was to the club, I had friends who'd gone through it, and it was just, I struggled in the game after it. I was emotionally absolutely drained from that walk from the centre circle to the cop, because I'd grown up on the cop and I knew what it meant, and it was so hard to do that. And that was one of, I mean, there's things in football that just suddenly jump up at you and you go, wow. And that was, of all the things I've done in my career, that was the biggest honour that was ever bestowed upon me. It was just Like even now, I get like goose pimples thinking about it, and the emotion that I feel from that. I always sort of get upset about, or not upset about it, but I always think what an honour that was to do that. And like all of my social media things and everything, that's my photo of me laying the wreath, because it was the biggest honour that I've ever had.
Were you thinking that it would affect you in the build-up to it? Because this is real life stuff now, rather than
it was so much bigger than football, massively bigger than football. And I remember just making the walk, and one of my teammates who I grew up with, Paul Harrison, had lost family members in that, and obviously I knew people who'd been to Hillsborough. I knew that the fallout of it all. I was a little bit too young to understand too much about it. I learnt so much more about it as I grew up, and being a Liverpool fan. But making that walk, I'm thinking I'm making that walk for people who've lost people who've gone through heartbreak and things like that. And everything that comes into your mind as you're making that walk is just scary.
And as I said, that's real life. And when that comes into to football, then it makes it a completely different thing. And it's interesting when you were talking about even the FA Cup final, you're sort of thinking about the people who have come along to see you. You're thinking about all the other stuff as well, and that all. It's when that sort of comes into the football situation. When you're coming to the end of your career, like you said, you've got that retirement game coming up, or that game coming up. You know you're going to retire. It's about you, and it's about your career and your identity, your kind of sense of self. I suppose.
Must have found it hard.
It's coming to the end.
Decide you're going to do it. 'Cause I don't know if I would have been able to do it.
Yeah, I think it was more the fact that I remember when I actually retired and how it happened. I was in the car and I was taking my kids to swimming, and I got a phone call from one of the media companies that I work for, and they just basically said, have you had to think about what you're going to do, and like next year you're going to carry on playing, because we've got loads of work for you. If you wanted to retire, then there's an option. And I remember it had already crossed my mind that I was enjoying the media side when I was playing as well, and I just thought, someone else going to take that opportunity at the end of the year. And I literally said to him on the phone, I went, yeah, I'm going to retire. And I remember everyone looking at me in the car going, what? And I was like, yeah, it's the right decision. So I'll retire at the end of the season. If you've got work for me, great. And I remember putting the phone down, and like me missus looked at me and the kids, and they were like, what have you just done? And I was like, well, it was the right decision. And I just didn't even fault. I didn't even at one point think I've made the wrong decision. As soon as it came out my mouth, I didn't regret it one bit. I just thought, well, I've made the right decision then.
So you kind of knew on a
I think it was just in my head that I thought.
Even so, though, going into that last game, you must have been wishing every minute would last forever.
Yeah.
You kind of, and then, like you said, getting taken off with 10 minutes to go. And probably it was Simon Grayson giving you the chance to come off and get a nice reception.
Yeah, I mean that was.
But even so, you must have been like that. It can't be time yet. Can't be time yet. A bit longer.
Emotional during the game as well. I would have.
I was desperate to score.
Oh yeah,
desperate to score, and I was like bombing up and down, trying my best. But you also want to have a good game. You also want to go out and remember it as I could still play, and that was what I was trying to do.
To perform. If I didn't perform, I'd want another game. I didn't have
another game at the end of the season. It was the last game of the season. But I was not frustrated that I came off, but I understood why he took me off. And I look back at it now and think it's probably the best way to end it. And it was away at Scunthorpe, and I remember thinking I'd wish it had been a home game again at Bradford or wherever it might have been. I mean, you always have a fairy tale way that you want to end your career, but even the respect I got from the Scunthorpe fans and things like that, their bench stood up and the manager came over to me, said like, congratulations on a great career. They're all little things that are nice, and they're things that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
People being nice to you when you're emotional is not good.
It's not good.
Can you just stop it? Just stop it.
And
go on.
Parents as well. Like for my parents, I didn't really think about it until I actually retired, that was their life. My dad went to every single game, even if I was on the bench. And I said, Dad, there's no point, I'm not going to play. Come just in case. And they went every week. And I didn't really think. And then I stopped, and it was like, what are they going to do at the weekends?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like it is. It was every weekend they went. I didn't really think about it until I retired. They were like, "What are we going to do?" Sorry, I can't run anymore.
I'll just try and find a doctor that can fix the... Make gardening? I don't know. Going back to earlier stages then in your career, because did you see the video of Ashley Young singing Three Little Birds as his initiation song for his new Inter Milan teammates? You've both obviously done it.
Yeah.
Did you have one song that was yours?
I did.
I've done two.
But, well, first of all, what was yours?
Twist and Shout.
So you've gone for the crowd pleaser that everybody joins in on.
Everyone knows it. Get them clapping, get them going. Hopefully
they'll sing it for you.
They'll follow and join in, make it easier.
Up there for thinking, down there for playing football. What about you?
I went with a reggae song, so I like reggae music. Compliment on Your Kiss by Red Dragon.
Right.
Do you know it? I'm not singing it. I knew that was coming. You know it. He knows it.
I'd sing it if I did, but I don't.
My last one I done was obviously Married to Frankie from the Saturdays, and a Saturday song at Brighton.
Is that what you call her? Frankie from the Saturdays?
Yeah. Just in case you didn't know.
Take
it's for those people who never knew. Oh, she's going to hate me now. Thanks, Kel.
I was giving you a chance to take it back.
That was really bad.
But yeah,
you're right, it's relevant. I'm being silly.
When I first turned up in the first gym session, they played the Saturdays album. And it was just a bit of banter from the lads. It was fine. But then me and Frank on the way into London, and I was going away in a few days, and I was saying, I'm going to have to do a song, but I really don't want to do it because it is horrible to do. And I can't remember if it was mine or her idea. She went, why don't you just do a Saturday song? I said, oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, I'll just take the piss out of myself. I might as well do the dance moves as well. So she taught me all the dance moves. There's a slut drop in there, the lot.
Come on, you have to do it.
So I just went. I went for no. I've done it enough times. I've been forced enough times.
No, but even a little. Because if you've done it,
I can't remember the words. All right, I cannot remember the words.
Do the tune then.
And I've done it. Someone did record it, and they put it on social media straight away. It was Drente, and I was like, oh no, please take it off, mate, because it was Circle for years, and he did take it off, thank Christ.
Come on.
No.
Just like 10 seconds.
I can't remember the words.
You can remember the dance.
No, I can't remember the dance.
Definitely can.
I'll bring it next week.
But look, as reticent as you are to do it, is there anybody that really loves it? Like they're sort of turning up, they really think they can sing.
Who was the lad in Germany who sang? And he was unbelievable.
It was amazing. No, you're right. Oh, God, what
like
was
R.
that?
Kelly or something.
Yeah, he was.
Was that Chelsea or Liverpool? Was it one of them?
In Germany?
No, sorry.
But had he come from Germany?
Was maybe
that
player that had done
there was somebody new.
I'm sure there was an English team. Someone had done one.
Oh, that's really annoying.
I'm sure it was Chelsea or Liverpool.
You know, if this bit stays in the podcast, people are going to be listening, going, "Oh, for God's sake, you not remember what that was?"
Yeah.
It was massive. It was just like
no one stands out for me.
Is that the worst initiation? The singing.
It's so tough. I mean, that is nerves. When you're getting up on there and you're thinking, if no one responds in any way, and you will get the lads going, do not give him anything back. If he's good, just sit there like
start throwing stuff, napkins, food.
But sometimes you just can't help it if they're good.
Wow. Fair enough.
The lads just buzz off. Certain lads being embarrassed or not wanting to do it.
Yeah.
If you're good, it's a bit
It doesn't make it. Yeah. My brother-in-law used to play rugby and did exactly the same thing. He had to do, and my sister taught him the dance to never forget. She wasn't in Take That. She just watched it on the video. But she taught him that. So now, enough drinks in them, and you'll get the full rendition.
That's pretty much what I do.
Yeah.
The slut drop comes out when I've had a drink.
We need to get it. You can do it when you do, our little Instagram things where you're like, listen to Liquid Football, swipe up to watch. Just end it with a slut drop. That's so annoying. We can't end this episode with a slut drop. That's it.
Well, you can always do it, Kel.
You say that, but physically not going to happen.
Yeah, my knees giving up on me.
Thank you very much to Stephen Warnock and to Wayne Bridge. We're available every Monday. You can download the podcast or watch us on YouTube. Please leave us a review on iTunes if you like what you hear. And we've got the Facebook page as well. If you search for Liquid Football, you can get involved with the chat there. That's where we'll post the slut drop. Don't forget to check out our other shows, House of Rugby with James Haskell and TKO with Carl Frampton. Thanks for listening.
You've been watching Liquid Football on Joe.